Hello and welcome to Clueless in a Caravan. It's May the 1st.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Happy May the 1st.
2022.
Unless you're a dog and you want to go on a beach, and then it's not Happy May the 1st. Because they're not allowed on there anymore.
And and you may notice that although you can't see the dogs, there's a dog there, and there's a dog here, but there's no teenager. Because this is our first ever trip away. In fact, have we ever had...
No, don't tell people it's our first weekend without George ever in 16 years. We've never gone away without George, have we? Have we?
I can't think of a single.
No, I can't.
Well, we've certainly, since we started camping, which I think was about 8 years ago. Since then, we bought a tent so that we could afford holidays during the school, during the 13 weeks you're allowed. But of course, we knew this day would come when George would, for whatever reason, rather not be in a caravan in a field when he has all his equipment to monkey around with at home.
And microwave meals.
Yeah, and he can get up when he likes. Well, mind you, he can get up when he likes at the best of times. So, but anyway, so this is the first time that we've come away together. When we bought the caravan, we knew that this would happen at some point. By the way, can you hear the rain?
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Now we're wishing we put the awning down after breakfast.
Yeah, well, there we go.
So we've come away to a site that is 15 minutes from home, so that we can sort of have a practice run at leaving George at home alone, and a practice run of us being in the caravan on our own. It's very roomy, isn't it?
It's 15 minutes from home, but it's 50 yards from where the caravan is normally stored. So it's actually in the same... It isn't the storage yard, but the storage yard is right there.
Behind that hedge.
Yeah. So it makes it ultra convenient.
We really wanted to like staying here, didn't we? And this weekend we have, haven't we?
It's been lovely. Yesterday was a great day.
Sun was shining. It was very peaceful here yesterday.
We wanted to sort of reflect on the fact that it's not that George won't come with us again. We have a sort of mini tour planned for August when we do expect him to come. He may decide he's not going to, but I'd be surprised.
So would I.
Because we're going to Dorset. We all like Dorset. So what did we do to ensure that this went as well as possible?
Microwave meals, already mentioned those. Nanny's in town, so if he had any immediate problems, he could contact Nanny, couldn't he?
We also have a blink camera on the front door, so we know when he comes and goes. And he doesn't know that we know that. We haven't deliberately withheld that, but he like most teenagers, he just doesn't pay attention. So
no, he's just not bothered, is he? So we did, because I was actually more anxious when he wasn't at home yesterday, when he was out with a friend, and him getting home safely. So seeing him go in the front door on the camera was like, okay, I can relax and have a beer now.
Yeah. But, as far as we know, everything's gone all right with him.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a change. I mean, obviously, at some point this was going to happen, wasn't it? But I was quite keen for us to experience what it was like and see whether we liked it, because we've only ever experienced caravanning with the three of us and two dogs.
So we sat in here for a meal on Friday night. I don't think we've ever sat in here for a meal.
No, and we watched telly.
In here.
Yeah.
And we had the table out, because we used the old camping table out in the awning, but in here, the one that comes with the caravan is good because it fits properly. So we unfolded that and sat and played sequence, didn't we?
Yes.
I let you win one, you let me win one.
It's a pointless game, but whatever. When you're tired, it's not a bad idea.
No, it's a good game when you're tired.
But it is nice to have. I mean, when we bought our first tent, we were told that you should always buy one that has at least two more so-called capacity for two more people than you actually need. So if there's 3 of you, you want a 5 or 6 berth tent. And I'm beginning to think that it might well be the same argument for caravans, because you know, our caravan's got a fixed bed at that end, at the front, actually the front end of the caravan. This is the back. But George would normally sleep here.
Like occupy this space 24/7, really.
Yeah. Just using the caravan becomes easier. But you know, the fact is that because we've got an awning on anyway, when the weather's reasonable, we just leave them here and go out in the awning. So it doesn't make that much difference.
No, we spent all day in the awning yesterday, didn't we?
It's more that this is what it's going to be like, because George isn't going to want to come with us.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, thank heavens we've got rid of him. Because that's not the way we look at it.
No. It's just different without a third person, isn't it?
It's just a fact that he's not going to want to come. And so, you know, we have to just get used to it.
Yeah.
While we've been here, I have been busy replacing the... Oh, is this one? Oh, it was not on. All the LEDs.
Ow.
All the halogen lights with the LED equivalents. I bought one set of replacement LEDs, and they sort of cracked the instant that I put in there. They were cheap ones. So I went to a place called, I think it's Aiton Lighting, and I bought the sort of dish shape, they're called MR11s, that I used for these sorts of downlighters. And then for the sort of embedded spotlights, they use a format called G4. And I've managed to replace nearly all of them. And each of them is about 1/10 of the wattage of the equivalent halogen. And so we have the pleasure of not having the fan come on the battery charger every time we put 3 lights on. So that was very nice. And of course, what we would like to be able to do is actually go one step further and perhaps go entirely off grid. We've got electric here. And I would like to be able to just pick anywhere. But we need to be assured that our batteries will last the couple of nights that we'd be away. And obviously swapping from halogen is one of the ways of achieving that. So that's been fairly straightforward. So the other thing that we've been trying to do is to establish whether we like these smaller sites. Our other trip this year has been to a site that we really like. It's called Rooksbury Park, near Fareham, in near the south coast of England. So that's a 25-30 minute drive from here, so it's not a long way, and we've been there several times over the years and we like it.
We went over the Easter holidays to Rooksbury, didn't we, for a few nights, and it was perfect because we didn't need to come back for anything. So
Rooksbury is a classic caravan club site. You know, okay, let's be honest, we've probably experienced 3 or 4 caravan club sites.
We're as clueless as we were 5 years ago.
Or camping and caravan club. They're all of a kind.
But Rooksbury's
it's a
really
typical
nice,
good quality, and whenever you speak to people there, they'll tell you that they love the site.
And they always go there.
Yeah, and a lot of them are quite local.
Yeah, lots of local people. And the warden, they've got 6 wardens there now, I think. They're fantastic.
Yeah, it's quite a big site.
Really nice facilities.
It's so. What we were seeking to do was to sort of take Rooksbury as an example of a caravan club site, and Barracks Farm as an example of a typical CL, and look at the pros and cons of both, so that we can decide. I mean, we're probably going to have a mix of them as time goes on, because they each have their own benefits. When it comes to Rooksbury, that's fairly local. Mornhill is our only closest one, and at the moment that's being redeveloped. I suspect we'll be going there quite a lot once that's up and running again.
Although the disadvantage of doing that is that it is no longer going to be a cheap site to go to. It's going to be a 40 quid a night site like Rooksbury is, or between 30 and 40.
That's on my list of cons.
Is it? Okay. Jumping the gun.
So the pros of somewhere like Rooksbury, now this may not be a pro for you, but for us we like the lively nature. We like the fact that kids are riding around on their bikes.
There's lots of dog watching to do. Hey Monty, people watching. Yeah. And we love
people exceeding the speed limit watching.
Oh, we love working out if people are going too fast.
Well, they always are.
They always are. Yeah. So slow down, people. 5 miles an hour is sufficient, especially when there's kids on scooters.
So it's a lively site, which is great. There's always something going on. just people, because there's a lot of people there. It's great for dogs. It's a fantastic site for dogs, because just walking around, because it's so popular with dogs, there's lots of dogs for the dogs to meet.
Yeah.
Even on the circuit, and you can amuse yourself doing the circuit multiple times a day.
Yeah,
it doesn't get boring.
We love walking around and seeing everybody's setups
But they've also got an off-lead area, which is where Monty experienced his first off-lead, and as you'll see, he absolutely loves going off-lead.
His little face doing zoomies.
It's the great thing about dogs, you know whether they like something, don't you? So it's brilliant for dogs. There's quite a wide variety of pitches. There are, depending on the time of year, there are grass pitches and hard standings, and of various types. So although it is very busy generally on popular weekends, it was only the once when we went back for the first trip after lockdown, the first time, it was hideously busy, and there were only technically 3 pitches available, but 2 of those, as far as I'm concerned, were entirely inaccessible, and one was practically inaccessible. I mean, if we'd had the motor mover, we could have done it, couldn't we? But that wasn't working at the time.
We weren't able to use it at the time. No,
couldn't lock it on at the time. It was lovely to be there.
Yeah.
They also have walks from the site. There is a walk through a place called 100 Acre Wood, which takes you into, is it Wickham? Wickham Village.
Which takes about 40 minutes, I believe, but we've never done it.
No, we're too lazy. So that's an advantage, that you can actually walk somewhere with or without dogs from the site. And the wardens are super friendly. I know it's like a tradition there, I think. They're probably I can't think of any wardens that... I mean, we've always found Morn Hill ones to be great.
Yeah, the Morn Hill ones were fantastic too.
At Rooksbury, in common with many caravan club sites, the facilities are superb. Both the shower and washroom facilities, and also washing up facilities, because you were talking about that earlier, weren't you?
Yeah, I do, because when we had Jackson, I never used to wash up on board because the kitchen sink plumbing was not there. But since we've had this one, I always wash up on board. But if we've used frying pans and the teppanyaki and things like that, I prefer to go and do that in the washing up facilities. And we've had a full English this morning, and I've had to wash it up on board. So yeah. I did miss the super hot water and the space.
Well, you can have the super hot water, as I explained.
Yes.
But
anyway, it was fine. I just had to scrub a bit harder. But as we have mentioned previously, I'm very good at that.
You're a good scrubber.
Yeah.
So those are the pros of somewhere like Rooksbury. The cons are, the chief con is price. Now, we went... Don't get me started on how much more expensive it is during the school holidays.
No, please don't do that.
In summary, as far as I'm concerned, the Caravan Club is a club for the benefit of members. And it hacks me off how much more expensive it is for those members like us who have to go outside of school term. So, anyway, we went for 3 nights, 120 quid. Okay, let that I mean, good grief. We were glad to get away. We love Rooksbury, but we cannot afford
We can't afford
that,
to do that.
especially with things as they are now, generally.
If we want to use the caravan, once a month, that's a big chunk of budget then.
And the other thing, of course, is availability. Rooksbury's one of those that
can't always get
booked up, particularly with the classic Saturday bandits that is supposed to be being addressed by the deposit, but nevertheless Saturdays are going to be busy. So that's Rooksbury. On the other hand, so we've got Barracks Farm here. This is a 5 pitch, is it?
Yeah.
CL, official CL, very local to us, obviously. Nice and quiet. Pitches, and all nice grass pitches, pretty level, and cheap. What did we pay for this weekend?
£30.
So it's £15 a night.
2 nights.
That
but
includes
if we'd
electric.
done 3, it would have only been 45.
Yeah.
So that's the comparison to Rooksbury.
They're not at present charging more for electric.
No.
So that's great. I mean, even at this time, that doesn't really require much thought. If we were to go to Rooksbury for a 2-nighter, that's 80 quid. So it's well more than twice.
Yeah.
The cons of this particular location are there's really no dog walking here. Although it's on a small road, the road is busy and there is no verge.
It's busy and it's fast. People bomb along there. And when we first stayed here, when we hadn't had Monty so long, it was difficult to walk along that road with him because he'd just try to dive into the hedge every time a car came along, didn't he? So that's not an option. So while we've been here, obviously we were in Alton yesterday, so we went there to walk the dogs. And then later on in the day, we just walked down the drive to the main road and back, and then around the storage yard, which is a bit like walking around Roxbury actually, but with less pitch space. Because
we've got our key fob, we can get in there, obviously.
But I don't know what everyone else does. We have done a nice walk before where you go out and round, and then across the fields there is a footpath, but you've got to walk along that main road to get to it, so it's a bit of a problem. Shame there isn't a footpath down. Yeah. That would solve the problem.
You cut directly across from here to the road. That would be great.
Because from Startergate Farm, where this CL site used to be, on the other side of the farm, you didn't have to walk out onto the main road.
That's right.
That's when we've done that walk along the footpath, isn't it?
And there are no walks at all from the site, so you can't, even if you're not got dogs, unless you're prepared to walk along a busy road. Really, I mean, it's busy enough to be dangerous.
Oh yes, definitely.
And the other thing, it doesn't have any facilities apart from the obligatory chemical and water.
Water, electricity, yeah.
But you know,
that's not a problem for a couple
15
of
quid,
nights, is it? So.
Oh, let's not even begin that discussion. Facilities. Anyway, the only other piece of news that we have for you is that we've replaced our awning. It's now getting wet.
Which I'm very upset about because it's wet now.
It depended which weather forecast you believed. We made the mistake of believing the BBC one, but it appears that the Google one was 100% accurate.
Yeah, 80% chance of rain.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was our treat for the year. We wanted to have one thing, and we previously had a camper Rally 260. Cheapest chips that was. I think it cost us, well, a couple of £100.
Yeah, because we bought it a few years ago. 4 years ago we had that, yeah.
And we loved it. But when it was at all windy, it would rattle around a lot. And we wanted one just a bit bigger. So this year I managed to, because these are in quite short supply, we got the sort of upgraded version, the Pro version. It's polled. It's the now Dometic, formerly Camper, Rally Pro 330. It's thicker fabric. It uses aluminium poles, so it's no heavier than the one that we've just replaced. In itself, the fabric is heavier, obviously, and we get that bit of extra space. And we love it, don't we?
Yeah, it's great because it's heavier fabric. It doesn't spook Monty when it's windy, and every time you open a zip. And also because it's heavier, we can secure it more easily around the bottom. So we found we can actually let the dogs off the lead now when they're in the caravan or the awning, as long as one of us is out there, without having to worry about them being on a long lead, which is obviously a tripping hazard.
That worked right up until I was just emptying the wastewater and found our old girl dizzy and was just trotting away, which has always been what she's been like. There are sheep in the field opposite, so we are obviously, not that she would go after them, but
no. And Monty's been fascinated by them, but he hasn't even barked at them.
He thinks they're big dog.
I don't know. We would normally bark at a big dog though if he wanted to say hello to it. But the sheep, they just had a staring competition this morning.
But this site also boasts a small herd of goats, which Monty's also interested by. He tried. Because he's quite an odd-looking dog himself, I think he regards goats as just other dogs.
He might think they're just like Albanian dogs or something, not Romanian, not quite right, but...
And One of the other things that you can get on this site is that because it's a farm of sorts, they've got chickens and geese and ducks.
Oh, there was a goose egg in there. There's a little store by the gate where you can buy eggs and presumably sometimes other things. There was some vegetables in there, I think, wasn't there? And there was a goose egg, huge goose egg in there, wasn't there?
Well, we got 6 large,
very large
hen's eggs, very fresh hen's eggs this morning, which we had with our breakfast. I thought £1.50 was pretty free, super free range, because we the chickens are in. We see the chickens in the storage unit all the time. So that's one of the charms of a small site, and we look forward to doing more adventurous. Not exactly off grid.
No,
well, it depends how you define off grid.
If we go to Popham, that's got no electric, does it?
No, I'll probably cut all of that out.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah. Chip, chip, chop, chop.
So what our forthcoming plans are? We've got a trip planned for the autumn, for August.
Yep.
We've got some time at Bridport.
Yeah, and
what's it called? Can you remember the name of the?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. It begins with a B.
Brigham
Grange.
Bingham
Grange. That's it.
Anyway, so we've got, and that is on a fully serviced pitch.
Yeah, we've never had one of those before.
Yes, that's going to be an expensive. Oh, well, it is. Do you know? Actually, I don't mind so much in August. When it really hacks me off is when it's in the spring, when it's not even hot.
Yeah, I think
you're paying twice as much.
Your budget idea for your summer family holiday is different to your expectations for a spring weekend or whatever. Yeah.
And then we've got. So on the way up, we're stopping at the New Forest on the way up, and then we may stop somewhere on the way back because we've heard of a CL site at Kingston Lacey,
the National Trust,
which we quite like. It's quite a nice place. We've been there a couple of times.
Yeah,
and it's expensive, is the only thing.
Is it?
Well, it's £30 a night. It would be £30 a night for us. In fact, it would be more than that because
George will be with us.
So it'd be almost as much as might as well stay another night at Bingham.
Yeah.
But
we're going to check out Black Knoll in the New Forest tomorrow.
Yeah, but again, that would be expensive.
That would be expensive. Yeah. Well, maybe the CL site that we stay at on the way down, which looks amazing, might be the CL that we stay at on the way back.
Yeah.
Don't know.
It's nice to be a bit more. We are finding that we're growing a little in confidence. Well, I am. You're not bothered anyway.
No, and I've started towing the caravan on the roads.
Yeah, well, there's news.
Mentioned that, have we? That is news. When did I do that first?
Rooksbury at the end of last year.
Was it? Yeah. Yeah, so I've towed... Yes, that's right. I towed to Rooksbury last year and I've towed to Rooksbury at Easter. So it's Kev's turn. So when we came here, which was what? 200 yards?
Yeah.
I'll let him do it.
Of course, that isn't the whole story, is it?
Oh, it was a very difficult turn.
It may be 200 yards, but it's like a turn like that. So you actually have to do a 3-point turn with a caravan on the back.
Yeah, I totally could have done that though. Because when we got to Rooksbury, because we've been there before and driven round 3 times trying to decide on a spot, when we went this time, I was driving and I just said, I want that one. Because it was the first one we came to that wasn't near the bins or the playground, and that one... Well, it was quite narrow to get in, wasn't it?
It wasn't a great choice.
It wasn't a huge choice, but I was reversing up a hill slightly as well. But with Kev's direction, I got it on the pitch and in the right direction. Within half an hour. No, within 5 minutes, and it was respectable. There were people watching, and I was not embarrassed. And then George motor-movered it to straighten it up, didn't he? It was brilliant. So I totally could have done that 3-point turn. I just well,
you were elected not to.
Couldn't be bothered. Yeah.
I'm reasonably confident with reversing.
Yeah, you are. You always have been.
To be honest, the truth is, there's control freakery on my part, and it's also the male thing of just assuming that you'll drive, which has no sense at all. But I guess my parents were the same. Dad did most of the driving, but Mum drove as well.
Maybe he liked doing it.
But also, I think that I was nervous about it, and until we got this latest car, I think I was so nervous that I wanted to feel that I would know what was going on, rather than having to sit next to someone. But anyway, I'd finally Peter's at least as good a driver as I am anyway. And she wants to do it, so we did it at the end of last year.
But I didn't park last year. When we went to Rooksbury, I pulled up in front of the pitch and said, "All yours."
Yeah, we motor moved it basically.
We motor moved it, and then when we got back to storage, I got out and you parked it. When we came back from storage this year from Rooksbury, I got it sort of within the space, and then we motor moved it in, which is the sensible thing to do anyway, because that's less pain and strain for the car then, isn't it?
Yeah. But Peter's more confident in many ways than me, so, and especially with driving.
I like driving, that's the thing.
Yeah, well,
I really enjoy it.
I don't.
So.
Every now and again I'll feel like driving, but generally, even in a nice car, it's just I can't. It's just not something that interests me particularly. I get nothing from it. But yes, that's a big step. It means now that we can both tow, which takes the pressure off.
It does completely.
If either of us is not feeling brilliant on any particular morning when we've got to tow, the other one can do it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So that's all excellent. So yes, so we've got our trip to Dorset booked for August, and we anticipate George coming with us.
Yep, hope so.
I'd be really quite surprised if he didn't, because he does enjoy once we're out and about and on official sites and things, and there's something to do then.
I think the only
I'm sure there will be a guitar shop
risk
somewhere.
is that he will have left school by then, and a lot's going to change for him this summer.
But he won't have started his new
He won't have started
yet.
College. Next year he definitely won't want to come, because he'll be doing other things by then. But we hope he'll come for this one.
And in between now and then, we hope to do plenty of caravanning.
I mean, we could even just come here for one night, couldn't we? It's so close. Yeah. And like today, it's past midday now. We've got no pressure to get off because there are no arrivals due. So when we pulled up on Saturday, we checked with them. Friday, sorry. We checked with them and they said no rush to get off on Sunday. So it's nice that we can pack up leisurely, do this, talk to you, and then probably have a bite to eat and a cup of tea and head home. So
if anyone's got any recommendations for CL sites on the route, well, New Forest is probably the best place to find one, isn't it? There was that one that your parents went to.
Yeah, and Foxhill. What was that called? Foxhill Farm?
Something like that.
No, the one we're going to is Foxhill Farm. Hillside Farm was the one Mum and Dad went.
Was nice.
I don't think that wasn't a CL site. That was a private site.
Oh yeah, I sort of grouped them all in together.
It was nice.
It was an independent site.
Yeah.
But then I think so is the Foxhill Farm as well.
Oh, I thought that was CL.
Well, anyway, whatever. If you've got any recommendations for the New Forest, apart from Black Knoll and the Centenary site, which I'm sure are great, and I'm sure we'll visit at some point.
Yeah.
But having spent 6 or 7 nights at a caravan club site by that point in the holiday already, we will probably quite appreciate something nice and small and quiet on the way back.
Monty
preferably with toilets.
Whereas,
I mean, George isn't going to stay anywhere that doesn't have toilets.
No, I don't.
He can only hold it for so long.
Yeah. On that subject, we should go because
we don't know if he's woken up yet.
We need to check with him that he's awake and alive today, and then head home.
So maybe you'll see him next time.
Yeah, I hope so.
So from Kev
and Peter
from Clueless in the Caravan. Bye.
Bye.